Welcome everyone. Welcome to the web series presented by UniApply Reimagine, where we talk to the school leaders and discuss the important topic. And today I am Ritesh Chavla representing UniApply, bringing a very important topic, that back to school. Today we have our esteemed panelists where we are going to talk about back to school and decoding the admission process for schools in Noida and Greater Noida, and help our parents to understand about the admission dynamics and how schools are taking care of your child, and how they are you know uh, making it new normal after a long gap, right? Because it's almost 23 months that children are going to re-enter into school after a very long break. So today, without taking much time, I am going to introduce our esteemed panelist. I have Miss Taruna Kapoor. She is the principal of Ramagya School, Dadri, Noida. Welcome, ma'am.
Pleasure. It's entirely my pleasure. I'm really, it's a long, great gratitude that you've invited me here to share my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So now I would like to invite my next panelist. We have Miss Anjali Tandon, ma'am. She's the vice principal of Indus Valley Public School, Noida. Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Welcome, ma'am. So now I would like to invite my another panelist, Dr. Mrs. Ruby Chandil. Ma'am is principal with JP International School, Greater Noida. Welcome, Ruby, ma'am. I guess Ruby ma'am is not audible. So meanwhile, she checks the connection. Uh, I would like to introduce Dr. Seema Bandari with us today. She's the director of JBM Smart Start, Greater Noida. So welcome, Seema ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Right. So now I would like to welcome Miss Anjali Malik. Ma'am is the principal of JP Public School, Noida. So welcome, Anjali ma'am.
Yes, I'm really glad to be a part of this platform. I'm sure there'll be a lot of learning, sharing of ideas, and thought-provoking discussions for everyone. We
Right.
really look ahead. We go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So I'm Ritesh Chavla. I'm representing UniApply. So for our viewers, I would like to tell UniApply is a common application admission app. So basically, this helps parents to explore schools and search school, and finally they can apply for the school and ensure the admission. So it ease out the entire process of admission for school parents, and it ease out the application management process for the schools. So today, I would like to tell the flow of this webinar so that parents and the panelists can also understand. So in the beginning, we'll discuss this topic, right? And we will back to school. Then we will probably ask a couple of questions to the panelists, and their parent may ask question, right? The viewers can ask questions. So I will put across those questions to one of the panelists, and then they can answer. So we will discuss this topic about 40 minutes, right? And in last 10 minutes, we'll take some of the questions, and then we will conclude the session. So now, without taking much time, I will ask my first question to Anjali Tandon ma'am, because this topic is really important, as we all know that school were closed, school building were basically shut down, but the classes were on. So teachers very well, and the school management principal, they put very hard effort to switch online overnight, despite the fact they were not very familiar to the technology, but they did really well, and they delivered the classes during the lockdown, right? Since now there was a long gap, and now schools are back to normal, and they are the leaders are putting best effort to making it possible, right? So my first question is for Anjali Tandon ma'am. So ma'am, like that back to school is very important. Now you are going to be functional for physical classes and the hybrid classes. So how, after such a long time, how school is uh, adapting this new normal and making physical class and hybrid mode possible for the parents?
Okay, this is not new normal. If we all know, last year also we had hybrid because that was introduced. But this year again it went into online and there was a lockdown. So what we are doing is for hybrid classes, we are having a separate time for our online teaching and offline teaching because we realize that the students need proper discipline and proper way of coaching them, because online, yes, we agree, there are professionally trained teachers, but online teaching was something new which was for them. It was difficult for them also to be trained. And definitely it was a hit and trial method, but within 2 days I feel all schools in Noida had it online, but they did modify it. And that hybrid thing that you're saying, we in our school what we have started, we are having two timetables. One is for my physical classes and the second one is for my online classes, so that there's a proper coaching and proper training and teaching going on from our side.
Okay, perfect. So, ma'am, what is the acceptance ratio for the parents who are sending their child to, for the physical classes? So I'm sure
The
that
accept
all may not be sending their wards, right?
No, all are not sending, but we have to motivate them. We have to tell them that the schools are physically ready with their open arms and all safety norms are being taken care. So it is like initially it was very less, but gradually because of vaccination of my class 9 to 12, we have a good strength coming to school.
Right.
But for my classes like classes 1, my juniors, my primary wing, they are more and happy to come back to school as compared to my 6 to 8. The ratio of my first to fifth, or pre-nursery or nursery to fifth, is much higher of physical classes than my 6 to 8. But yes, gradually with the passage of time and days, and we doing conversation, we are doing calls to them, we are talking to them and showing them that yes, all safety norms are being taken care, the attendance is increasing.
So I will, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Anjali, ma'am. I will in fact ask an extended question to Taruna, ma'am, now. So, ma'am, since ma'am mentioned that, the turnout ratio for the primary classes are really good, but if you go to the mid section, then the traction is really low. So, student also play a vital role that because on the primary section, parents hold the entire control. So, do you think that is it impacting
Yes.
the strength?
Yes, that is impacting the strength. And the sincerity in the online classes also of primary and pre-primary is better than the secondary and the middle school. That I would like to say. The teachers are facing a lot of challenges in online teaching when it comes to the middle and the senior school. But when it is in the primary and the pre-primary kindergarten, the children are they readily accepted the online and offline mode. So very true that yes, it is the child who have stopped listening over this 2 years pandemic,
Right.
and they have lost the way. They have to be brought back to discipline.
I'm sure school must be putting a lot of efforts to bring them back on
Yes,
track, right?
yes. Lot of counseling is required.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Mhm.
So, Tarno ma'am, I have another question. Since we know that there was a gap of almost 23 months and student came in between for a very short while, and we have seen the phases where school was shut and, it was open, then the pollution crub was there. And, we have seen a lot of challenges during last almost 2 years, right? So now it seems to be the entirely normal situation, but we have to adopt the COVID protocol in the school ecosystems, right? And bringing now school functional in a functional mode, right from the classroom to transport to maintaining the playground, sending student for the sports activity, whether student will use the utilities like washroom, the drinking area. So how school is putting efforts to make this possible with the new COVID norms?
This 23 months has really taught the school management, the school housekeeping staff, the children as well. So they know, and most of the things they know, that they have to be careful now. So even the housekeeping is very, very trained, and they are being trained for this, and they are maintaining that protocol, and they are sanitizing the things again and again when the times need. And even the buses, the if you see that it was a challenge for them when the schools were not running, even the buses, the drivers, they were not, they were having a tough time. So they also know, they have also realized that yes, this is the this is a need of the hour, that we have to maintain this, so that nothing unforeseen should happen and the children are safe and are regular to school. So
Right.
that everybody is taking care of. Even I would say that even the parents are sending sanitizers, masks in their bags, and the children are also well trained by the parents that you don't have to remove the mask. Even the pre-nursery child, he's also not removing the mask in the classroom. So that is a big thing. So I would say that this 223 months has actually taught each one of us a bitter lesson. And they were really tough times, but yes, we have learned a lot. And even the children are groomed that way, that they have to take care of themselves. There's no one else who's going to take care of them. They have to be loving themselves.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Before I go to, in fact, Anjali Malik, ma'am, I would just like to ask you one more question with respect to this only. So, ma'am, does administrative officers, or let's say the school administration, a part of school administration, the government administration, also keeping a check that how schools are, following the norms, or are they helping parents to understand and motivate? Other than, see, school is, of course, I'm sure school has to cater their students, so school must be doing. But is there any drive from the administration which is helping parent to learn more and make it easy for school and parents as well?
See, as far as if you talk about my school, I have not heard anything from the administration drive. But yes, of course, we are time to time we are counseling, and we are having a webinars and everything for the children in the assemblies, and the otherwise also on the Zoom sessions. Also, we are taking care of all the protocols and all the guidelines, whatever are there, so that they know that what has to be followed. Apart from this, that yes, the government only comes to this when the schools have to be closed. Then they are there, that whether the schools are closed or not, that they make sure that we close down.
Right.
But rest drive, I don't know. I have never, I have been very honest, that I have not heard of such kind of drive happening here in my near my school.
Right. So now, thank you, ma'am. Now I will ask a very important question to Anjali Malik, ma'am. In fact, we had essence of this question while talking to our previous two panelists. So Anjali, ma'am, the question is for you is like, what are the some unique challenges that children are facing this year, as they head back to school? So across classes, starting from, primary to secondary and to senior secondary. So there are a lot of challenges. So would you like to, throw some light on this, ma'am?
Yes, Ritesh, I think it's definitely going to be very challenging for students right from the beginning, because for very young children, schools hardly opened.
Right.
The senior children still have had little exposure. Classes 9 to 12 were still coming to school in between. The 10 and 12, there were board exams also. So they are into it. They know the challenges. So I think they are better prepared also. But then for other classes, it will be challenging because few students have not come at all. Because when we took consent from parents, there were few who never gave the consent, and they have never sent the students to school. So of course, not only managing the day to day schedule, the routine, and like taking care of their masks and the sanitizers and everything, so that will also will naturally be there for students. But at the same time, I believe the social emotional learning, which has actually got affected during this time,
Right.
will now need to be nurtured altogether in a different way. Because you see, students learn a lot from their peers also.
Right.
So that was missing. And if this will be an added advantage when students come and they join school physically, it will be a challenge at the same time also. Because you see, when they have not interacted with their peers physically for long, and now when they meet, it will be important to channelize their energy. There can be discipline issues. So
Right.
safety will be, of course, on priority. And I think not only the physical safety, that emotional safety, and the mental safety, psychological safety. One has to look at all the dimensions of safety when you talk about giving a safe and conducive environment to students. I think the learning gaps would have been there to a lot of extent, especially the writing ability. Students have been missing to a lot of extent because it was not possible to check what students were really writing, and they were that personal follow-up which a teacher does in the physical mode was totally a miss. So I think once we meet students here physically, we will actually feel that yes, the writing ability has been actually backseated. That needs a lot of improvement. And I think with these challenges, one has to go ahead initially with a bridge course,
Right.
right? You have to bridge up those gaps, whatever you feel that those fundamental concepts, the competencies which were really needed for that, they have to be bridged before the teacher actually starts with the main curriculum of this class. So that kind of preparation is needed and has to be given to the teachers. They have to be trained accordingly. Although they are well prepared with that hybrid mode and online, offline, they have become really smart teachers. But then this is one anticipation at my end, that there will be a need to give an appropriate bridge course to children and handle them with a lot of love and care,
I'm
right?
sure.
Because there have been a lot of emotional disturbances at times in at their homes, at their places. So because they could not vent out, at times earlier they used to speak very often to their counselors, to the school teachers, their authority, their mentors, which they actually missed. So teachers will be expected to work at a high level. I believe you have to do hand holding and bringing children truly back to school. That's what I mean.
Right.
That's all
So
my side.
thank you, Anjali ma'am. So there was a lag in last few seconds. So thank you very much. Now I will go to Dr. Bhandari. She's director of JVM Smart Start, and I will take her opinion on my next question. Like, ma'am, what can parent do to make this transaction easier? For their children, because after a long gap, they are coming back to school, and there are few students who have studied at home in their primary classes, pre-primary classes, and now they are going to back to school. So, what are some other things that parent can do to prepare their child for back to school, ma'am?
Most important, we have to accept new normal and make it normal. So,
Right.
and while we talk about this, I think the most important thing would be they must touch with the help us with their routine. Children are really sleep. There are odd hours of sleeping, watching television, playing hours. There has been no routine for the past 2 years, you know. So
Right.
now they have to bring them all back into a little more disciplined life, waking up hours, sleeping hours. That would be the most paramount, aspect.
Right.
And also there has to be lot of understanding between the parent and the teacher, you know. It has to be like teamwork.
Right.
And it is since schools will, and for when it comes to the foundation years, will have to be working on their not only routines, also in you know, covering the learning gaps. There have been
Right.
far too many learning gaps. It is those learning gaps which need immediate attention, because we just can't go ahead and ignore what has been left behind. So despite all the efforts and despite everything, the social isolation is one of the main things. So
Right.
once we induct them into that, and slowly and gradually, it's a work of patience. It's we need tremendous patience, not only with the child, but also with our own approach, you know. And slowly and gradually, things will continue becoming normal. As that is one thing. And as ma'am had very beautifully pointed out, that mental and emotional health has
Exactly.
to be, you know, taken.
Conducive environment is really important. That is mentioned
Yes,
by
yes,
ma'am.
yes, yes.
Because there's a long gap,
Yeah,
right?
and there are very, very small things like consistent and regulated lifestyles, eating time, sleeping time, you know, because these are the things. Because as they say that it is in the educational years, in the early years, or also in the school years, we form habits, and then habits form us.
Right, right.
This
In fact,
habit forming phase has to be taken care of all over again. 2 years has done nothing but, put it in disarray. We have to put it in normal style
right,
of functioning.
right.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Mandari. So, in fact, I'll go to Ruby ma'am and we'll take her, view on this discipline and schedule is really disturbed. And now school is actually going to help to make it better for parents and students. So, ma'am, what's your view? Just to add on before I go to my next question. Uh, is ma'am audible to everyone or
No,
I?
I can't hear her. No.
Ruby ma'am, what you can do is you can just disconnect and rejoin and join with audio. That will help you to, uh, you know, that will help us for getting your voice right. So meanwhile I'll go back to Anjali Tandon ma'am. Meanwhile, ma'am rectifies the voice, right? So Anjali ma'am, are you there? Okay, we'll go to Taruna ma'am. So uh, Taruna ma'am, so I have an important question for you. Like we have seen like many, parents who are now living in Noida because Noida is newly built city, right? So if you see, the originally the parents belongs to the other places. So they are during this lockdown they went to their native places or let's say hometown because offices were on work from home mode. So now their children have to attend online classes, right? Or let's say the physical classes. So how you are going to manage because they may be living, not in Noida but in their hometowns. So how you are, coping up with this situation because many of the parents are there in their hometown still. So are
Yes.
you facing some challenge in
Yes, the challenges are there. Of course, the
okay,
challenges are there. That yes, they have to. Kabhi day before, a parent called me up and said that, "Ma'am, I will not be taking offline classes because I am in Jodhpur. So and my children are also there. So you please take online exams so that we can get the result and all." So I said that yes, but we we need to work on that also. So these are challenges we are facing and. Despite of being that we are on my school is on offline mode totally, right?
okay,
So yes, so earlier also like in the month of November and December also we were offline,
right,
and the strength was also good. The parents really sent, and there was not even a single child who did not give the consent, or the parent who did not give the consent, right? So they were all very happy coming to school. As ma'am said, that social and the emotional learning and mental and discipline, getting up and having tiffin on time and all these things, they come when they come to school, right?
right.
So these are challenges, but yes, we need to, that there comes this hybrid mode, we need to be in have the hybrid mode thing also running. So yes, we will do something about it also. We cannot let the children suffer.
Right, I'm sure. At least for this academic session, when it is
Mm.
going to end soon, maybe this
Yes,
or this month or the next month. So
next
I'm
month.
sure school are cooperating and parents may have their genuine reason that they are work from home mode. They are on
Yes.
work from home mode and they are actually living in their comfort zone at their hometowns and coming back is of course a matter of cost also and lot of other things also. So they were
Yes.
also looking for convenience, right? So
Okay.
I would just like to check with Ruby ma'am, is the mic functional or are we able to get her voice? I'm so sorry, ma'am. Still, I don't know. So I would request my colleague Bhumika to connect with Ruby ma'am and help her to, with the voice setup. So meanwhile, I'll go back to Anjali
I'll
Tandon
assist.
ma'am.
Yes, please.
So, Anjali ma'am, hybrid classes put more burden on the teachers to manage and spend their time online and offline. So, what are you and school doing to support teachers? Because at the end of the day, they have to ensure the outcome. They have to ensure the learning among the student, and they are the, they are the key stakeholders in this entire process. So, how you being a leader, or let's say the school, as a school, you are helping teachers to enable them to lesser this burden, ma'am?
See, teachers are the seed sowers, and these all young little ones are the ones whom we have to nurture. I
Right.
agree the teachers have to be our overburden, and teachers are working hard to ensure that whatever they are teaching and the process that is going on, they bridge that gap. But like what we have started doing is we have started giving them into shifts. We are not telling that they work throughout. We have made a timetable where they are getting breaks and they are able to teach in both modes. So that is the way we are taking care of them. Plus, we are ensuring that there are different timings for different teachers so that their work can be carried out efficiently and effectively, so that they do not compromise on quality of the work which has to be given,
Right.
and that quality is being assessed by off and on by the management and the administration.
Right, right. So that's really good to hear, ma'am, that school is putting effort. And in fact, I'm sure because at the end of the day, the end user receives everything from a teacher only, right? And
Yes.
management and principal help the entire ecosystem to, uh, to grow and sustain in such a way so that we all, or in fact, the ecosystem can meet their goal, right? So I'll go to Dr. Seema Mandari, ma'am, and would understand, ma'am. See, as we know that kids have faced a learning gap. So this is a question from a parent called named Babita ji, and she's asking that kids actually have this gap of about 2 years, right? Some children are now back there in class as well, and their parents were really stressed, and now even they are stressed because students are not able to cope up. So I'm sure school, this is a very short time, it's just a week only that kids are back to school if we largely look at this scenario. Uh, so how school, or let's say teacher, or what ecosystem can be built so that this stress can be taken at lower level, or let's say there is no stress, like parents used to send their children to school in a normal way, right?
Mhm.
So what do you suggest, ma'am?
Uh, First thing is that we cannot pour anything on a child at the moment, in our panic. As I earlier said, patience is the key word.
Right.
And we will have to, just not count how many chapters not done, what basics are not done. We have to actually work only on the basics. And to do that, we have to take the help of other pillars of the school, not only academics, also fine arts, also games, sports, indoors, outdoors. The more happy and normal they feel, they will perform better.
Right.
You see, it's not just only academic hours, whether it's indoor or outdoor, and also a bit of technology also has to be, included in their day-to-day school day also. So this will help them. And also at this particular point, whatever we are doing in the school, maybe the homework, not overloading with homework, but at least repetitive exercises at home with a due understanding of parents will help us a lot to cover the learning gaps, as I said. And we have to diversify the child mind in other things because all the children, irrespective of the age, have a very uh, micro attention span. So it's not
Right.
just that all the 5 6 periods we pour on and then they say, okay, let's cover this and this deficiency, this deficiency. So with normal understanding and a little more regulated work, this will
Right.
come forth. This will come forth as again back to the routine, and then slowly and gradually we have to give them time to chew and not gulp whatever we
Right.
are teaching them. Yes,
Of course, this time has taught a lot to each
yes,
one
yes,
of us,
yes.
whether in any domain, let's say education or non-education. Yes, ma'am, you are
Yes,
saying
and
something.
each day we have to reimagine, as your whole topic suggests. Reimagining is the key word here.
Right.
We have to reimagine how they will not, we have to teach them not the way we want to teach them. We
Right.
have to now teach them the way they will learn.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Yes.
Right. Wonderful. So, Tanna ma'am, would you like to add on something to what Dr. Bhandari said?
Dr. Bandari well said. I was having really enjoying what she said, that yes, we have to actually work according to their needs, how they want to learn and how what they want to do, because it's a big gap for them, and big, like, we a lot of challenges the teachers are facing, the writing skills, I mean, because they've not written anything at home, so there are so many things and so many changes which have to be taught to them, but with pace, with slow, so that they can absorb it. We don't have to burden the children, so, because I think we all are sailing in the same boat. But yes, with gradual time and with consistent efforts, the things will change, and the children would be back to normal, what they were for us. So
Right.
because they are very fast learners, I must say that every child is a very sharp learner, and they have sharp minds, so they will really pick up fast when they come back to the routine, playing with and peers and meeting the pairs, and sports which they have missed for so long. So yes, they will come back when they come back to the traditional classrooms regularly.
Right. Is Ruby ma'am there? Bhumika?
Ritesh, can I add something here?
Yes, yes. Anjali ma'am, please go on.
I see. I would just like to say that this kind of bridge course, which I was talking about, uh, this can really help students. It's all about designing the bridge course in an appropriate way. For
Right.
example, if I am a maths teacher,
Internet
I
Hello.
Yeah, Ruby ma'am, you're audible, but you have to, shut down one system so that there is no echo.
Okay. Can you hear me?
so I
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you, but from the other device, uh, voice is cached by the new device, and there's a voice echo in the voice.
Okay.
You can shut down the for other device, right? Not this one. Yes, Anjali ma'am, you may go on.
What I was referring to was that it's all about designing the bridge course in an appropriate way. For example, if I'm a maths teacher, right, and I'm teaching in class 7, so I know what are the fundamental concepts, suppose, which were really needed to go up to class 8, right? So those fundamental things can be revised with the students once again, without assuming that children have actually known everything, or because maybe they scored well, so that means they know those things. So it's important that maybe first 2 weeks or at least 10 days are spent in a quick good revision of those competencies which are really needed to get the appropriate academic standards in my own subject. So this kind of exercise, I think, if all teachers do this, uh, and then as a team, we will be able to ensure that students are academically also up to the mark. Plus, the activity teachers, they have always been coordinating, but still all the functions and everything was online. And you see now, once you give a chance to students to perform physically, they will
Yep.
be in flying colors. So it's all about integrating your co-scholastic activities with the scholastics. And if I'm teaching any concepts in language or literature, in mathematics, and if I can integrate it with some sports activities, with your arts and crafts and your performing arts, so that's how your art integrated learning will truly happen. All CBSE circulars which we were getting and we were following can now actually be followed in pursuit. So your experiential learning, hum kitna bolte the hands on experiences, but how much was really possible, because the resources students were picking from home. But now we have ample of things here in school. So I think this is right time to gear up with those hands-on things and guide students about the experiential learning, give them true feel of experiential learning. So it's all about being better prepared. So I think in the leadership of principal, the teachers can be very well prepared how to face this challenge. So this is a new, I should say, capacity building program which teachers have to be given. That's
Right.
uh, that's what I would like to say on this.
So I'm thank you,
Thank
Anjali
you.
ma'am. In fact, it is very important to enable your teachers if you want to meet the goal and the vision of your school, right? And make it possible for the student for a better outcome. So I'll go back to Ruby ma'am to check first whether the voice is active.
Hello.
Yeah, Ruby ma'am,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon. Ma'am, you have to take away your another device because the voice from another device is cached by this device and it is getting echoed, right? So, meanwhile, you do this, I have a question which all the panelists can hear, and I would like Ruby ma'am to answer if the voice is in place. So, as we all know that because of this pandemic there were a lot of physical and the financial and a lot of constraint. So financial was one of the major constraint because many parents lost their job, the business was shut, and parent has to actually do a lot of effort to redo in their life. So there are in fact a lot of other thoughts also when it comes to nursery admission. Many parents, because we conducted a lot of webinars and we interacted with a lot of parents. So the parent used to ask like, okay, can we skip nursery admission this year? And even the school and the we as UniApply have also noticed that many parents opted to skip the class nursery, right? Which is like a learning gap again. So many parents did not take admission for their child in nursery in any formal school. uh, you know Now they they are confused because they think, because a lot of parent has the same question whether uh, this pandemic is going to prolong uh, again. What if there'll be again a lockdown situation? So is it appropriate to send or register their child for nursery admission? So it's a very tricky situation where parents are considering this as a prolonged process and keep postponing the admission. They are not admitting in the foundation classes, I would say. So Ruby ma'am, how uh, this problem can be addressed? What is your say, ma'am?
Hello.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
Okay. Good afternoon and sorry for the inconvenience. Uh, any and every situation always gives you something good at the end. So my takeaway, my learning from all these years, months of difficult time is it has resulted in one positive thing. That is a much greater appreciation for the importance of schools. So I'm taking forward, Mr. Ritesh, your question, how important is nursery? You know, remember those days when these parents were struggling to work with the children at home due to
Mm-hmm.
closure of schools, public recognizing, the essentials of catering, which the school is catering to the role of, taking care. Their schools are like caretakers of these tiny tots when the parents are working at ease, right?
Right.
This was missing somewhere and parents recognized that. As young people, the young toddlers were struggling to learn from home. The gratitude of parents has risen for teachers. They started valuing their skills and their role in their child's life, in their child's well-being, has actually shown their worth. So trust me, with my experience, and we were in communication with all the parents all these days, because this time has given, some share. Everybody had their own share of good or bad of this pandemic 19 or COVID 19. You know, nobody has been spared.
Right.
So, I can assure you, I can tell you, but, sitting with a parent will, raise the level. Talking to a parent, the comfort level, the confidence level always increases. Everybody, I'm sure, must have been following the government guidelines, the protocols. Every school is doing their bit to welcome back the students.
Right.
Nobody is leaving any stone unturned, but one must always remember these teachers are trained professionals, and the parents should gain back the confidence to surrendering or sending their kids back to them, because then only there's a holistic improvement or growth. In isolation, nobody can grow. It's either you or me. So we are talking about education as such. So It is just that we have been in touch with the parents throughout the time. So that has given them the confidence that they are assured of joining us back. And the results, as Bhandari ma'am was saying, Tarna ma'am said, everybody was mentioning, the toddlers are looking forward to come back to life. And so are we eagerly, welcoming them with our open arms for, the important part of their life which they missed.
Right. So, Ruby ma'am, thank you for enlightening on this, question. So, what I feel is value is not questioned at any level why this is important, right? But the question comes that what motivates parent or what can be the factor of motivation. So, out of all the constraint, parent take that leap of faith. Okay, let's send now. This is the high time. Teachers are trained, but is there anything additional, Anjali ma'am, if you would like to mention Anjali Malik ma'am?
Are you asking Anjali Malik or Anjali Tandon?
It's Anjali Malik ma'am, you ma'am.
Acha, okay, right.
Hmm.
See, of course, I think we have been very, very liberal, and we have actually been cooperating in a lot of ways. Like we gave them the facility that the caution money could be deposited in the next session, right? And so this helped them save the money. Even the admission fee,
Right.
we in fact helped them and guided them that they could deposit in the form of 3 installments. So this was again a benefit for parents. So like initially they may give just 15,000, then next can be given in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. So that's how that 35,000 comes to the school. So we have been cooperating and we carry on with such things. Plus, at the same time, I think few parents have worked very hard with their students with their kids at home. Like if those fundamentals of class nursery, which were really needed, if their child has been able to cope up, right,
Right.
and he or she is all set to be taken in class KG. So I think school must also understand that whichever small school which they visited, or maybe the parents or the mother became a true home teacher, and if the gap is not there, so I think if as per the age we must entertain the child in an appropriate class, right? So that should be there. And so pre-primary, I think we can make little adjustments, and we can't really be looking forward to a TC coming from uh, a school, and then only a child, if a child knows what all is really needed to go to KG, if the milestone has been touched. So I think we should welcome them and we should cooperate with parents, because somewhere the financial burden was on everyone. I mean, the schools and the parents. So why not come forward and cooperate with the community? That's, I think, is very important at the school's perspective to look at.
So,
Can
in
I
fact,
interject? Can I interject?
yes, yes.
Anjali ma'am has really explained it very beautifully. Of course, we have been there for the parents, and we need to be continue being there for them. And but the only thing is that the child learns much more, flourishes much more when they are surrounded with a peer group.
Right.
So it can't be just a home education. This 1 year is very, very vital, because these days the children have actually become very smart. If you see the children, the way they are growing and learning past few years, they are living in a technological era right now. So I agree with ma'am that we must do a little bit hand holding with the parents, and I think all of us have been doing that. But at the same time, we cannot undermine the importance of nursery. That we have to convince them one way or the other, because it can have a vital impact in their further education. So it's
Right.
hence very, very important.
Right. In fact,
Even
on
if you
this,
see the syllabus or curriculum, it is designed in such a way that you just can't skip. And at home, there is a chance of their getting into the rote learning, and or perhaps we'll have to train the moms a bit to the teacher's way of thinking and teaching. Yes.
right, right.
Yep.
So, I'll in fact, thank you, Seema ma'am. I will go to Ruby ma'am to, ask a question which is an extended arm of this question only. So, Ruby ma'am, of course, learning gap is one thing that many of the school leaders were talking about, and like Anjali ma'am said, okay, if child is able to cope up with the next class, okay, school is not very much rigid when it comes to pre-primary class, okay. But there are cases where because of the financial constraint, parents were not able to send their ward because the hospitality sector, and there are many sectors which have the worst they have gone through the worst phase, right? And they were completely out of the business ecosystem. They were shut, and parents were completely out of finances, right? Out of funds to sponsor the education of their child. So, ma'am, there are now learning gaps for more than 2 years. That we have come across such cases. So, how school is helping parents or the students uh, where there was a gap of 2 years? How school is actually helping parents and student in such a fashion so that uh, a win-win situation can be created for both the stakeholders.
See, Mr. Ritesh, it's always in partnership, right? We work for the holistic development of the child in partnership with the parents and with teachers, and of course, the guiding force. I understand there were impact on different, communities in the society who suffered a lot. But at the same time, we can always take care of the minimum level of learning if the child has attained that. If the child has attained that and the child procures the proper documentation
Right.
and an appropriate age, appropriate and the class specific admission can be granted, it should not be a problem. And in case the gap is broader or it is more, then the child can be given a target to work on, and there can be an examination to at least attain the minimum level of learning. This is I'm talking about the primary classes.
Right.
If we talk of Greater Noida, there are places parents actually suffered. They had no device to get connected to,
I'm sure.
right? So there were internet problems. Schools were always open to help these type of students. Hand holding was always there. So there cannot be a specific policy per se, but child specific, situation specific decisions can be taken up. But one should not compromise on the criteria of admission. Just give them the target for the minimum level of learning that should not be compromised. That is my vision, and support the child. No child should suffer the teaching learning process
Right.
because of pandemic.
Right. Wonderfully, Ruby ma'am, you explained it very well. In fact, that works in the partnership way, and both stakeholder has to walk a mile to meet the common goal of learning for the kid, right? So my last question is for Taruna ma'am, and that may be for that's a very generic question. So despite the fact the schools are putting best efforts to interact with the parents using technology, and whether it comes to academic delivery or let's say the admission, so ma'am, how the school is taking admission process forward, right? Because uh, in this last 2 year it was completely online. So how is the plan for the coming year, and uh, how you are going to take application, or how you are going to take application through UniApply? So if you can tell us a bit about the process.
See, admission process has already begun. We all know that.
Right.
And if you talk about quality, yes, we will, as ma'am said, that rightly said, that no student should be deprived of learning. Okay. So what we can do is that we can make a entrance test a very level, little easy for the children, where the children can, because as they have missed on their very very important years, and though giving them online education and offline, I would say that there's a lot of difference, children coming and learning, and as ma'am said, that a traditional classroom where they have their peers, learn from them, they see, and they get motivated, and then that they learn a lot when they come to school. So entrance test has to be taken, and so that we can assess the child's academic proficiency, that where it lies, where he or she stands, where he can, how much we have to work on the child, right? So that is one thing. And yes, no student should be deprived of education. That is a wonderful takeaway. And we are working on that. And like a wonderful answer which was given by Anjali ma'am, that for the nursery admission also we are also working, because as I said, I got number of admissions in the month of November when I reopened the school. So there was a lot of gap, and the bridging the gap is very important for us in all the classes. So the teachers and the mothers, they both the stakeholders are working hand in hand to bring the child to that level. And believe you me, 2 months child coming to school does make a difference. I've seen, and they learn in a better way, and they are doing really great when they come to school. So that is how we will proceed further. And definitely the entrance papers would be taken, so that we know that how much we need to work for the child in the
Right.
entire academic year.
Right. So, in fact, it was a wonderful and a fruitful discussion. Before I go for, before I conclude this session, I would like to thank each one of you for coming here, sparing your time, and, discussing this topic at length. And what I could learn, and in fact, the parents can well understand that schools are actually working real hard to make it possible and bringing back to normal everything, right from entry into school, and whether sports, academics, or whatever your kid takes as a service, or let's say use as a utility, they are making it easy for all of you. And not this entire journey, but school otherwise also making it possible for parents by giving a lot of session working with parents, and designing and bridge course like Anjali ma'am mentioned. So we could easily sense that schools are actually working on academic and non-academic front to achieve the common goal of education and a better education for your kid. So thank you each one of you, the parents and the leaders, for sparing time and coming to this platform for sharing your knowledge on this important topic, back to school. By this, I would like to sign off and thank you. Have an excellent academic year, and I hope there will be no such situation where we have to go back to the situation what we have seen in the past. And this makes easy for both the stakeholder, parents, and kids and schools, right? Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.